Hello students. Now in this module we are going to study about globalism, capitalism and the merits, demerits of capitalism. We are going to go through. Now let's get inside globalism. The term globalism was coined by Manfred D. Steger in the year 2002 to denote the new market ideology of globalization that connects nations together through international trade and aiming at global development. This ideology is also termed as extended capitalism. The modern concept of capitalism is called as globalism. It was introduced in the year 2002. Now let's enter into the meaning of capitalism, socialism and mixedism. In capitalism, there is a total freedom and private ownership of means of production. It is otherwise called as a free market economy. In socialism, there is no freedom for private and there is public ownership of means of production, which is against capitalistic view. The last is mixedism, which denotes the coexistence of both capitalism and socialism together. Now let's enter detail about the concept of capitalistic economy or capitalism. Adam Smith is the father of capitalism. It is also termed as a free trade economy or laissez-faire economy. That is, in Latin, it means non-intervention of the government, or the role of the government is very limited. Here in this economy, the role of the government will be minimum and the market determines the market forces. That is, the demand and supply determines the economic activities of capitalistic economy. Now that is the major concept of capitalistic economy. Here, the means of production in the capitalistic economy are privately owned. Manufacturer produce goods and service with the main objective of profit. Here, under capitalism, profit motive is the major objective. The private individual has a freedom to undertake any occupation and develop any skill in order to earn normal or abnormal profit. Now the best examples of capitalistic economy are, the first one is the United States of America, West Germany, Australia and Japan are the best examples of capitalistic economy. Now let's go for the features of capitalistic economy. The first feature of capitalistic economy is private ownership of property and law of inheritance. That means here under the capitalistic economy, the ownership of means of productions are done by the private entrepreneurs. Here we take the basic concept like land, capital, machines are operated by the private individuals. That means they are owned and they are directed by the private entrepreneurs. The owner has the right to own these things, keep, sell and use these resources according to their wills and fancies. The property can be transferred to the legal heir after the death. That means when the property of when an entrepreneur demises, that is if he dies, the properties are transferred from his father towards their son and daughters. That is called the legal heir. The second concept we call it as freedom of choice and enterprises. Here each and every individual is free to carry out any occupation or a trade at any place and produce any commodity according to their wills and fancies. Similarly, the consumers are free to buy any commodity according to their choice, or we call here as consumer sovereignty is present at the higher level. The third feature of capitalistic economy is profit motive. As we discussed before, profit is the ultimate objective of a capitalistic economy. Here, profit is driving force behind all economic activities in the capitalistic economy. Each individual and organization produce only those goods which ensures high profit. Here, the manufacturer or an entrepreneur understands the demand for the high profit oriented commodities alone is being produced in a private market economy, that is capitalistic economy, with the help of advanced technology, division of labor and specialization is followed in order to earn abnormal profit. Now the advanced technology is used because the cost of production will be at a low cost and the price for the product sold in the market will be at a higher level. This will derive more profit for an entrepreneur class. Division of labor. According to Adam Smith, the labors are divided according to their specialized skill, dexterity and caliber, which shows that the private entrepreneurs will employ a right person at a right job according to their skills and caliber. This will reduce the cost of production and wastage of resources, and the output will be at a higher level at an efficient concept. This will derive more profit for an entrepreneur class. So the golden rule for the producer under capitalism is to have maximizing of profit. The fourth concept is called free competition. There is free competition both product and factor market. That is, the product market is under the control of an entrepreneur and the factor market is under the control of the factors. But here, the government or any authority cannot prevent firm from buying or selling in the market. There, the competition between buyer and sellers are free in nature. The next concept is price mechanism. In this, price mechanism plays a major role where the market forces, which is nothing but the demand and supply, determines the price prevailing in the market. Now, according to the demand, the supply has to adjust. According to the demand, if the supply is not adjusted, the price mechanism plays a role. So now the present situation of corona plays a major role in price mechanism, where the availability of the commodities in the market are not sufficient, whereas the demand for the products are more due to the non-logistic supply concept. So due to that, the price of the commodity in the market will shoot up. So in order to control that, the supply of the essential commodity has to be supplied without any hindrance, so that the price of the commodity will be maintained according to the demand for the product in the market. Next, the sixth one is the role of the government. Under capitalistic economy, as the price mechanism regulates economic activity, the role of the government is very, very minimum. Here, the government provides basic services such as defense, public, health, education, etc. This is the only role the government of the country under the capitalistic concept plays a role. The last one, we call it as inequality of income. Under the capitalistic economy, the society is being divided into two classes. One we have called haves and those people who have owned the property, and the other one we call it as have-nots, who does not own the property, and the major concept are working class. Here the outcome of this situation is that richer becomes the richer and the poorer becomes poorer. So the economic inequalities are growing and it widens in the capitalistic economy. Now let's come for the merits of capitalism. Automatic working concept. Without any government intervention, the government works automatically. As we told, the concept of capitalistic economy is based on the market mechanism, which is otherwise called the operation of demand and supply. The second merits of capitalism is that efficient use of resources. Here, the resources are used to the optimum level without wastaging of resources. Reason is because well specialized and the division of labor plays a major role. The third merits of capitalistic economy is incentive for hard work. Here, when a factor is being given a job and when the specialized person does the job, the encouragement is given from the entrepreneur class in order to earn more profit. sorry. The next one we talk about economic progress. Production and productivity level are very high in capitalistic economy. Next we have consumer sovereignty. All production activities are aimed at satisfying the consumers. That shows that the producer wants to produce the commodity according to the demand of the consumer in the market. That shows that consumer are the ultimate person to gain profit from the consumer. So the entrepreneur wants to satisfy the customer, and the customer is given full freedom to decide what to produce and how to produce, how much to produce in a capitalistic economy. Next one, we talk about higher rate of capital formation. Now, under the capitalistic economy, the saving and investment will be at a higher level. As a result, that will automatically leads to capital formation. The last but not the least, we talk about the development of new technology. Since the profit is the main objective of a producer, the producer starts inventing a new technology where the commodity production should be at a high level with good quality at a cheaper cost. So these are the main objective of a private entrepreneur. Now last we go for demerits of capitalism. Concentration of wealth and income. Under the capitalistic concept, the richer becomes richer, poorer becomes poorer. So there is a concentration of wealth and income in very few hands, and this starts increasing the gap of inequalities among the income distribution system of capitalistic economy. The second one, wastage of resources. Here, many entrepreneurs compete in producing a commodity of the product which is being demanded by the consumer. So there is a possibilities of competitive advertising and duplication of many products, which leads in overproduction and wastage of resources which is available in the economy. Third one, there's a class struggle. Capitalism leads to class struggle that is divided into society in the capitalistic workers and the workers. Next we talk about business cycle. The free market system leads to frequent violent economic fluctuations, and there will be a economic crisis under capitalistic economy. The last one, production of non-essential goods. Here, as we said, the resources are being wasted on competitive advertisement and duplication of product. Here, there are many harmful goods which is not needed for the producer will be produced in the market in order to earn more profit. Good morning, students. In this module, we are going to study about socialistic economy or socialism. The father of socialism is Karl Marx. Socialism refers to the system of total planning, public ownership, and state control on economic activities. Socialism is defined as a way of organizing a society in which major industries are owned and controlled by the government. A socialistic economy is also known as planned economy or a command economy. In a socialistic economy, all the resources are owned and operated by the government. Public welfare is a main motive behind all economic activities. The aim at equality in distribution of income and wealth and equal opportunity for all is the main objective of socialistic economy. Now let's see the country who are following socialistic pattern. Russia, China, Vietnam, Poland, and Cuba. But now there are no absolutely socialistic economy is prevailing in the universe. Now let's see the features of socialism. Public ownership of means of production. All the resources are owned by the government. It means that all the factors of production, that is land, labor, capital and organizations are nationalized and managed by the public authority. Second, central planning. Planning is an integral part of socialistic economy. In this system, all the decisions are taken by the central planning authority. Third, maximum social benefit. Social welfare is a guiding principle behind all economic activities. Investments are planned in such a way that the benefits are distributed to the society at large. Here, the main aim is social benefit, not profit motive. Fourth, non-existence of competition. Under the socialistic economic system, there is absence of competition in the market. The state has full control over production and distribution of goods and services. The consumer will have a limited choice. That is, the consumer sovereignty is limited. Fifth, absence of price mechanism. The pricing system works under the control and regulation of central planning authority. Here, the market forces, namely demand and supply, are under the control of public authority. Sixth, equality of income. Another essential feature of socialism is the removal and reduction of economic inequalities. Under socialism, private property and law of inheritance does not exist. 7. Equality of opportunity. Socialism provides equal opportunity for all through free health, education, and professional training. 8. Classless society. Under socialism, there is a classless society and so no class conflict occur. In a true socialistic society, everyone is equal as far as economic status is concerned. Now, let's see the merits of socialism. First, reduction in inequality. No one is allowed to own and use private property to exploit others. Second, rational allocation of resources. Since the central planning authority allocates the resources in a planned manner, wastages are minimized and the investments are made in a pre-planned manner. So, under the socialistic economy, the wastage of resources are minimized and it is saved for the future consumption. Third, absence of class conflicts. As inequalities are minimum, there is no conflict between the rich and the poor class. Society functions in a harmonious manner, that means in a peaceful manner. Fourth, end of trade cycles. Planning authority takes control over production and distribution of goods and services. Therefore, economic fluctuations can be avoided. Fifth one, promote social welfare. Since the absence of exploitation, reduction in economic inequalities, avoidance of trade cycles, and increase in productivity efficiency helps to promote social welfare of the public. Now, so far we have studied about the merits and the features of socialism. Yet, it has to have a demerit concepts too. Now, let's understand the demerits of socialism. The first one, red tapeism and bureaucracy. As the decisions are taken by the government agencies, approval of many official and movement of files from one table to another takes time, and this leads to red tapeism and corruption. Second, absence of incentives. Since the major limitation of socialism is that the system does not provide any motivation of incentives for the efficiency. Therefore, productivity also suffers. Third, limited freedom of choice. That is, the consumer sovereignty is limited. The consumer do not enjoy freedom of choice over the consumption of goods and services. Last, the fourth one, concentration of power. The state takes all the major decisions. The private takes no initiative in making economic decisions. Since the state is more powerful and misuse of power can also take place. Hello students, today in this module we are going to study about mixed economy or mixedism. In a mixed economy system, both the private and the public sector coexist and work together towards economic development. It is a combination of both capitalism and socialism. It tends to eliminate the evils of both capitalism and socialism. Now, in these economies, resources are owned by the individual and by the government too. Now, let's see the countries who are following mixed economy. They are our own economy, Indian economy, England, France, and Brazil are the examples of mixed economy. This mixed economy is a modern concept of clubbing both the advantages of capitalism and socialism. Now let's see the features of mixed economy. 1. Ownership of property and means of production. The means of production and the properties are owned both by the public and the private. Public and private have the right to purchase and use or transfer their resources according to their wills and fancies. The second one, the coexistence of public and the private sectors. In a mixed economy like ours, both the public and the private sector coexist. Private industries undertake the activities primarily for profit motive. Public sector firms are owned by the government with a view to maximize the social welfare of the public. Third, economic planning. The Central Planning Authority prepares the economic plans. The national plans are drawn up by the government, and both the public and the private sector abides to the rules and regulation of the Planning Commission. In general, all sectors of the economy functions according to the objectives, priorities, and the targets laid down in the plan. Fourth, solution to economic problems. The basic problems of what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, and how to distribute are solved through the price mechanism as well as the state intervention. Here the price mechanism means the market forces, that is the demand and supply. Sixth, freedom and control. Both private has freedom to own resource, produce goods and service and distribute the same. The overall control of the economic activities rests with the government. So, under the freedom and control, both the private and the public are free to function. Now, let's see the merits of mixed economy. Rapid economic growth. The best advantages of the mixed economy is that it promotes the rapid economic growth. Thus, both public requirements and the private needs are taken care in this economic system. Second, balanced economic growth. Mixedism promotes balanced growth of the economy. It promotes balanced growth between agriculture and industry, consumer goods and capital goods, rural and the urban sectors, etc. are balanced in this mixed economy system. Third, proper utilization of resources. In a mixed economy, the government can ensure proper utilization of resources by proper planning concept. The government controls most of the important activities directly, and the private sectors are indirectly under the supervision of the government. Whenever the private sector exceeds their limit, the government sector pokes and controls the activities of private sector so that the utilization of resources are being done at a proper concept. The fourth, economic equality. The government uses progressive tax of rates of taxation for levying income tax to bring about economic equality. The progressive rate of tax is nothing but according to the ability, capacity, potential of the taxpayer have to pay the tax according to their level of income. Here, under this progressive tax, higher the income, higher the tax, lower the income, lower the tax, lower than the taxable income are exempted from tax. That shows that economic equality is maintained under the mixed economic system. Fifth, special advantages to the society. The government safeguards the interest of the workers and the weaker sections by legislating on minimum wages. That rationing, establishing fair price jobs, and formulating social welfare measures for the development of the lower income group of people, we call it as below poverty line people. Now let's see, even though it has got advantages, now we have to see the demerits of mixed economy. Let's see. 1. Lack of coordination. The greatest drawback of mixedism is a lack of coordination between the public sector and the private sector. As both work with divergent motives, it creates many coordinating related problems. So that is a tedious concept under mixed economy. Second, competitive attitude. It is expected that both the government and the private should work with a complementary spirit towards the welfare of the society, but in reality they are competitive in their activities and in their nature and motives. Third, inefficiency. Most of the public sector enterprises remain inefficient due to lethargic bureaucracy, red tapeism, lack of motivation and corruption, but that is completely not possible in a private sector. Fourth, fear of nationalization. The mixed economy, the fear of nationalization discourages the private entrepreneurs in their business operations and innovative initiatives. Fifth one, widening inequalities. Ownership of resources, law of inheritance and profit motive of the people widens the gap between the rich and the poor. So these are all the demerits of mixed economy, which is said to be a greatest problem of economies facing, economic under the mixed economies are facing. Hello students, now we are going to compare the different economic systems in this module. Under this concept of capitalism, socialism, mixedism, we are going to compare. Let's see the first concept, ownership of means of production. Under the ownership of means of production of capitalism, it is private ownership. Here, the private entrepreneur determines the entire means of production, that is, the factors of production of land, labor, capital and organization are under the control of an private entrepreneur. Now let's see under the socialistic pattern of economy of ownership of means of production. Here, the means of production, that is land, labor, capital, organizations are under the control of public authority. Under the third concept called mixedism, the ownership of means of productions are vested both in the hands of private as well as the public sector. Now let's go for the second concept of economic motive. Now, the economic motive of capitalism is profit. Here, since the private ownership of means of production is there under capitalism, the main economic objective is to earn profit. So, an entrepreneur tries to earn more profit in his organization. Now let's go for the socialistic pattern of economy. Under the concept of economic motive, we have social welfare. Reasons: because The public ownership is under the control, and here the government decides for the social welfare of the public. Let's move on to the mixedism of economic motive. As you know very well, it's a combination of capitalism and socialism. So under mixed economy, the social welfare and the profit motive are the guiding concept of mixedism. Now let's go for the third concept called the solution of central problem. That is, what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Under capitalism is a free market system. That means everything is decided by the private entrepreneur according to the system of demand and supply prevailing in the market. Now coming for the socialism, for the solution of central problem, everything is scanned and controlled by the central planning system. Now coming to the mixed economy, under the concept of solution of central problem, we have both the central planning system and free market system, that is demand and supply, deciding the concept of central problem under mixedism. The fourth one, the role of government. Under the capitalism, the role of government is internal, where under socialistic pattern of economy, the role of government is completely involved, and here there is no concept of privatization playing a role. Now coming to the mixedism, there is a limited role played by the government under mixedism. Whenever the private sector exceeds its limit, the government sector steps in and control the private sector. The fifth topic is the income distribution. The income distribution under capitalism is unequal, as it knows, as we say, the private sector wants to earn more profit rather than less profit. So there is unequal distribution of income among the factors of production. Now coming to the socialism, the income distributions are equal. Reason is because the central planning system controls, regulates the economy. So the income distributions are equally being done for each factors of production. Next we go for the mixed economy of income distribution is less unequal. Next, the sixth topic is nature of enterprises. The nature of enterprises under capitalism is private enterprises, where the private entrepreneur dominates the entire economy. Now coming under the socialistic pattern of economy, the nature of enterprises are government oriented. Here the bureaucracy controls and everything is under control of the central planning system. Coming to the mixed economy, where the nature of enterprises are combined by both the private and the state enterprises. The seventh topic is economic freedom. Under the capitalistic economy, the economic freedoms are completely freedom, where we call it as consumer sovereignty. The consumer has freedom to choose what they want in the capitalistic economy. So this gives a free hand for the entrepreneur under the private sector to produce the commodity which is being demanded heavily by the consumers in order to earn profit. So here the freedom is completely given under the control of privatization. Coming to the socialistic pattern of economy, the economic freedoms are lack of freedom. Here everything is controlled, checked, monitored by the government of a country. So the freedom is under control. Coming to the mixedism, there is a limited freedom for both the private and the public sector. The last major is the major problem. Under the capitalistic economy, it is inequality. Under the socialistic economy, it is inefficiency due to the concept of lethargic attitude by the government sector, and there is a result of corruption. Now mixedism, the major problems are inequality and inefficiency. Hello students, in this model module we are going to study about stock and flow variable. Now let's see what is stock. Stock refers to the quantity of a commodity measured at a point of time. Students should understand here stock means measured at a point of time. In macroeconomics, money supply, unemployment level, foreign exchange reserves, capital are the examples of stock variables. Here, the stock is nothing but at a particular point of time. For example, unemployment level, money supply, foreign exchange reserves for the year 2000 is a stock. Now let's understand what is a flow variable. Flow variables are measured over a period of time. Students should understand it is measured over a period of time. That means here the period of time explains the lower limit and the upper limit. That is the national income, imports, export, consumption, production, investment or flow variable. That is for the year 2000 to 2001. That is a flow variable. Now let's understand what is economic models. As we know, models is a simplified representation of real situation. The economists use models to describe the economic activities, their relationships and the behavior. A model is an explanation of how the economy or a part of the economy works. Most economic models are built with mathematics, graphs and equations and attempts to explain the relationship between economic variables. Usually, economic models are supply-demand models and circular flow models. And now, we are going to study about the circular flow of income models. The circular flow of income is a model of an economy showing connection between different sectors of the economy. It shows flow of income, goods and service of factors of production between economic agents such as firms, households, government and nation. There are three economic models. They are two-sector model. It is a simple economic model explained with the help of households and a firm. Household explains about the service of flow of factors of production from the household sector to the firm, or we call it as a demand side of an economy. The other concept is the firm, where the firm attracts the land, labor, capital to the organization, produce the commodities and supply back to the household sector. This is a simple two-sector economic model. The second one is a three-sector economical model. It is a mixed and closed economy with the concept of households, firms and government. Now we call it as a closed economy. Reason because we don't consider the third sector, which is said to be the foreign sector, into account. Now let's go for the four sector economical model. It is an open economy with households, firms, government and the rest of the world. Rest of the world explains about the external sector, that is export and import. So we have two sector economical model, three sector economical model and four sector economical model. Now students, let's enter into the two sector economical model explanation with the help of flow chart. Now there are two sectors, that is household sector and a firm. The household sector is a sole buyer of goods and services and the sole supplier of factor of production, that is land, labor, capital an organization. It spends its entire earned income on purchase of goods and service produced by the business sector. The household sector receives the income from the firm sector by providing the factors of production owned by it. Firms. The firm sector generates its revenue by selling goods and services to the household sector. It hires the factors of production, that is land, labor, capital and organization owned by the household sector. The firm sector sells the entire output to the household sector. Now let's understand this with the flow chart. The flow chart explains the outer circle represents the real flow, that is the factors and goods. The inner circle represents the monetary flow, that is the factor price and the commodity price. The real flow indicates the factor service flow from household sector to the business sector and goods and service flow from business sector to the household sector. Now let's see the formula for the two-sector economic model, that is Y is equal to C plus I, where Y is income, C is consumption, I is investment. Now let's move from the two-sector economy model to three-sector economic model. In addition to the household and firms, inclusion of the government sector makes this model a three-sector model. The government levies tax on households and firms, purchases goods and services from firms, and receives factors of production from the household sector. On the other hand, the government also makes some social transfers such as pension, relief, subsidy to the household sector. Similarly, government pays the firm for purchase of goods and services. Now, let's see the formula for three-sector economic model, where Y is equal to C plus I plus G. Under this three-sector model, Y is obtained by adding consumptional expenditure, that is C, investment expenditure, that is I, and the government expenditure is G. Now let's move from the three-sector economical model to four-sector income in the economy. In a four-sector economical model, in addition to the household, firms and government, the fourth sector enters, that is, namely, external sector is included. In real life, only four-sector economy exists. This model is composed of four sectors, namely households, firms, government and external sector. The external sector comprises exports and imports. Now this we can see it in the flow chart. In the four-sector economical model, expenditure of the entire economy includes domestic income, that is income within the economy, that is C plus I plus G, where consumption expenditure is C, investment expenditure is I, government expenditure is G, and the net exports, that is nothing but the differentiation between export and import, X minus M. Therefore, the four-sector economical equation is Y is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Now, the students, you have understood about the concept of circular flow of two-sector, three-sector, four-sector, and what is stock and what is variable and economic modules.